All right, ladies and gentlemen, final race of the championship. Right now we got at the front of the pack Joshua and Craig as usual, except Keanu is up in the mix now. That's him in the yellow sail. Excellent start for him. He's actually up in the mix. Then you see Norman at the upper left of your screen, and then Joss in the light yellow sail. So here we go. We've got these guys stacked up coming to the mark. A little bit of a sloppy tack from Keanu, but he should straighten it out. Keanu might be on the line. I don't know. He's probably going to slip down in all these waves, so there's probably 2 more tacks in everybody's future, unless Joss punches all the way through and keeps going and then tacks on the lay line. Looks like he's coming pretty close to Joshua Weech, and he's on port, so he's going to have to look out. So he's going to dip. So they are very close. Now he's got to deal with Craig, so he's going to dip Craig. Now he's got to deal with Keanu, and those 2 are best buds, so I'm betting Keanu's going to let him go. Not like it matters. Okay, Joss is going to cross it. All right, so boy, it's going to be close at the mark. You're going to have about 5 boats all getting there at the same time. And this is the final race, so standings are on the line. So there may be some shouting and some protesting going on when they all get there. But what you're going to have is these 3 guys are about to tack, and they're all going to be coming to the buoy on port, which means they have no right of way, and they cannot in any way interfere with the boats coming on starboard. Keanu should tack now. He's going too far. He's just putting himself in a bad situation. So Joss is going to cross all of them on starboard. He's going to be first at the mark. Craig is going to be right behind him in second. Now Norman's going to have to tack. So he's going to tack. Then Joshua Weech. So those 2 are basically tied. Now we have Keanu and Tanaj all coming to the mark at the same time. So it's all piling up really, really close. So we've got Exuma, then the 3 Nassau boys, then 2 more Exuma boys behind them. So it's a tight, tight race here at the finish. Here comes Christina Manos and Emmett right behind them, so it is really close. Let's see who has the better downwind. All regatta, I'd say Craig and Joshua have definitely excelled in the downwind, so they are expected to probably pass Joss and be first at the gate. And here we have Jerron Francis and number 31, that's Zachary. They're coming around right now together. Good for them. No fouls, no touching the markers. Very good. There's Dai Major coming around the windward mark now, number 2. Luffing up to make sure he doesn't grab that anchor line. There's No Sean McKenzie, been very consistent today. So a good race so far, very, very close. Everyone's digging deep and finding whatever little bit of energy they got left. And there's Lando Ferguson, who's had some of the worst luck in this regatta. He's broken equipment pretty constantly, had missed a few races, had to go back in and switch boats today. So good to see him out there getting around the mark pretty quickly. But there's our leaders. Look at all those sails. Everyone's trying to find their own lane, stay out of the wake and the wash from the boat in front of them, while also trying to block them with their sail. So you have to be careful when you're overtaking here. The boat overtaking has to avoid running into the boat in front of them. And then the boat in front of them is trying to stop the boat behind from overtaking. So it's a bit, a bit of a cat and mouse game. You're trying to protect your lead without letting somebody overtake you, and then once they start to overtake you, meaning they have an overlap, you have to be careful not touching them. And sometimes you have right of way, sometimes you don't, depending on which way they overtake you and what tack you're on. So there's all kind of things in play right now. But basically you're trying to find as much speed on this downwind as you can, and you do that by constantly working your weight forward and backward, in and out. You're trying to look behind you and see the waves coming so you can surf the waves. You're trying to minimize your tiller movement. So the more you move the tiller, it's kind of like putting the brakes on. So you want to be careful that you don't do excessive tiller movement. And you want to try to keep your tiller as steady as you can and just surf the boat down the waves. So here, as expected, Craig has already overtaken Joss. Craig is arguably the fastest downwind sailor out here. Pretty consistently, he's passed boats on the downwind. Joss and Joshua Weech are pretty even, so they should get to the gate pretty much at the same time. Then we got Keanu, who's a lot higher up in the fleet than he usually is, and that he has been all regatta. And then we've got a couple that are off to the right that are taking a different line. There's Tanaj and Norman and Christina are all over there. So we have a gate at the bottom, which means we have 2 buoys at the downwind, which means you can choose which side you go through. So if it's getting crowded on one side, sometimes it's a better strategy to jump over and go the other way, so you don't have a pile up or a possible penalty at the bottom mark. You can see that little buoy they're going past now. That's the starting line, which then becomes the finish line. So they're halfway down the downwind already. Actually further than halfway, because the finish line is closer to the gate than it is the windward mark. But everyone seems to have found their own lane. They're trying to, you can see them trying to get their sails up in the air a little bit more. So you'll see the boats rocking back and forth. That's them trying to get those booms just a little bit higher, grab a little bit more air, and get a little bit more speed. So Norman seems to have jibed and spun around and gone pretty far into the left, so I assume him and Christina are probably going to take the left gate. Everybody else, certainly Joshua and Craig, look like they're going to go to the right gate. But it's a little bit of strategy, deciding which side of the course you want to go to. On the race before, a couple of the guys that went to the right side of the course coming back up gained big time on the rest of the fleet, so we'll see if they do that again. But so far, it's a nice tight race. And we will let them continue to sail, and we'll check back in with you soon. Enjoy the beautiful, beautiful footage from Gray's Media Productions. Carson and his team do an amazing job bringing us these races. He's done all of the races for our club and Exuma, and every time you see something on YouTube or Facebook from him, it's always top quality. So if you need any video work done, definitely give him a call. He's getting really good at recording these races. So enjoy the footage, and we'll check back in with you soon.
It's regatta time again.
All right, we're back in the action for the final race. It is getting close. Craig is pulled pretty far ahead, so he looks like he's going to wrap up this race and the championship if nothing changes right now. Joss, the yellow boat in the middle right there, is second with Norman basically right behind him, so those two are almost tied for second right now in this race. And then behind them, it's very close. Keanu, Joshua Weech, Tanaj, Christina, all crossing each other back and forth. We actually had a very close call between Tanaj and Joshua Weech, and Joshua Weech ended up doing 2 penalty turns, so there must have been a protest, and rather than risk any disqualifications or going into the protest room, Joshua Weech just did his penalty turn, so good for him. And now he's got to work hard to climb back up in the race, but it looks like Craig on that downwind jumped pretty far ahead and is holding on to this lead now. He's got the championship in sight, so he's gonna most likely hold on, and barring some sort of broken equipment, he should hold on to win this race. He's about to tack for the final windward mark, and then he'll be on the downwind, which is his strongest leg of the race anyway, so he'll probably increase his gap. So the question now becomes who's in second between Joss and Norman, those two boats right there, the yellow one and the light blue one. And then who's in third between about 4 boats that were really, really close last time they all came together. So we'll see. All right, so right here, gives us a broader view. Thank you, Carson. We've got the bright orange sail cutting through the 2 yellow sails. So one of those yellow sails is Keanu and the other is Tanaj. So she's ahead of one of them. The yellow sail furthest on the right is either Jerron Francis or Joshua Weech. I can't tell from here. But if that's Joshua, then that means he's fallen behind 1 or 2 of the yellow boats and Christina. So we'll see what happens. But yep, here we go. Craig is around the mark, and he's going to have another great downwind, I'm sure, so he'll stretch out his lead. Joss is clearly going to be in second at the mark, and Norman is going to be third. So that's how this race is shaping up. And I don't see Joshua Weech, so that must be him right there below that yellow sail. And that yellow sail is Tanaj. So we've got Tanaj and Joshua Weech fighting it out. Tanaj has the better position right now. He's giving him a bit of a wind shadow, trying to get windward of him. So that's a good position to be in. He can tack freely for the ley line. There goes Joshua. I don't know if Joshua thinks he can make the ley line. If he can, he'll gain some on Tanaj. And here comes Christina, Tanaj's sister, and she is hot on his heels. So she's trying her best to get a top 5 finish overall in this regatta. It's going to be close for her. So here we go. Looks like Joshua is going to make that buoy, which means he did gain a lot. He tacked, just missed it. Just missed it. He's going to luff around it. That's a gutsy move in this big breeze and that big buoy. So likely, yep, he touched the buoy right there. So he is going to have to do another penalty turn. Emmett's going to pass him. Yes, he figures he's got nothing to lose at this point. He's going to throw this race out anyway. So there you go. He's going to do a 360, and he'll knock that out in just a few seconds, and then he'll get back in the race. So every time you touch a buoy and somebody sees it and protests you, you have to do one full 360. And then every time you foul another boat, so if it's a port starboard or a windward leeward or overtaking situation, buoy room situation, you have to do 2 penalty turns. So the single turn doesn't hurt quite as bad. He should be able to recover from that. There goes Keanu around, and there is Jerron Francis. He's around, also fighting with Keanu for an overall finish. So those two are going to have a good race to the finish right now. And we got the rest of the fleet working their way up for their final windward rounding of this competition. There's a nice close-up of your likely champion, 2023 Junior Sunfish Champion, Craig Ferguson. Excellent regatta. First or second in every race except for the last one. Race 6, he had a hiking strap pop and he ended up 4th. But after throwing that race away, he's going to be your champion, especially with Joshua Weech currently sitting in 5th place. So Craig has all of this all but wrapped up, barring a major equipment failure at this point. Josh also very consistent, 2nd or 3rd in every race of this regatta so far. So he's going to be 3rd place overall, most likely. And we've had a few nice surprises in this regatta. I think Christina Manos has got to be one of them. Been in the top 6 or 7 boats out of a 24-boat fleet. That's very much overachieving our expectations for her. Here's Norman. Norman suffered from some bad luck, had some equipment failures, had to throw out one of his, did not finish races, but he's likely going to end up 5th overall. So a good regatta for him. And Tanaj Manos, Mr. Consistent, 4th or 5th in every race. He's going to try to hold on and maybe get a 3rd in this race, which would be great for him. But he's likely to end up 4th overall, so that's a good finish for him. We got 2 Nassau boys, 1st and 2nd, then a couple of the Exuma boats, and then a lot of trading back and forth between Nassau and Exuma for the next 10 boats or so. But overall, been a really, really good, very competitive regatta. These guys with their experience and size definitely able to handle this breeze, no problem. I know they're going to be tired, but they did really, 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 really amazing. This is not easy sailing conditions by any means. This is exhausting and tiring. You got to keep your brain engaged, you got to keep your body engaged, and that really does tend to start to creep up and compound the mistakes you make. So for them to check their boats enough to make sure they don't have a breakdown, and then read the wind and have the physical ability to hike and keep their boats fast in these conditions is really commendable. So we're really proud of all the kids that have competed. But at the end, there can only be one winner, and it's going to be Craig Ferguson, who's going to be the 2023 Junior Sunfish Champion. So we're very, very proud of him. We congratulate him for an excellent regatta. Once again, one of the best junior sailors in the Bahamas, no doubt. The Ministry of Sports junior student or junior athlete of the year, and very well deserving. One of the best opti sailors, and now he's making his mark in the lasers and the sunfish, and hopefully soon in the E-class as well. So really, really great to have him here and seeing him sail so well. I'm sure everyone has learned a lot watching him sail, him and Joshua, both top level competitors, and just very, very excellent sportsmanship from the 2 of those guys and everything that they do. So we're really proud to have them here, and we hope that they'll come back and sail with us again. But we're gonna watch the race finish here. This is just a short sprint for them to the finish line, and then we will give you a nice recap and a nice awards ceremony tonight. But enjoy the rest of this race, the final race in the 2023 Bahamas Junior Sunfish Nationals. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap. Race number 7 in the books. Winning the final race, Craig Ferguson. Second, Joss Knowles. Third, Norman Cartwright. Fourth, Joshua Weech. And fifth, Tanaj Manos. That's the top 5 in the final race. We're going to bring you the final overall winners and standings tonight at the awards ceremony at 5 o'clock at the Splash Bar and Grill. So if you want to come on out and cheer for all the kids, come on out for 5 o'clock at the Splash Bar and Grill for the awards ceremony. Thanks so much for watching all the races. Thank you to Carson and Gray's Media Production and their team for putting them on for us. And we will hopefully see you tonight.